Can we have translation sets for Lydia, please, or for everybody on the main table? No? There's no translation sets for us, please, on the main table, because Lydia will speak in French. Well, in the meantime, I can welcome you. Good morning. Welcome to the opening press conference of the FIFA Women's World Cup Canada 2015. Bonjour, bienvenue à tous. Bienvenue à la Coupe du Monde, à la conférence de presse d'ouverture de la Coupe du Monde féminine Canada 2015. Welcome to our viewers on YouTube. This morning we will have translation available in English and French. For those who don't speak French, I advise that you take a translation device, as Lydia will express herself in French. With no more delay, let me introduce you to our head table guest today. So on a FIFA side, to start with the ladies, Lydia Nsekera, Chairwoman of the Committee for Women's Football and the FIFA Women's World Cup, and a member of the FIFA Executive Committee. Next to me, Tatjana Haenni, FIFA Deputy Director of FIFA Competition and Head of Women's Football. On the NSC side, host country, Victor Montagliani, Chair of the National Organizing Committee and Canada Soccer President. And next to him, Peter Montopoli, Chief Executive Officer of the National Organizing Committee and Canada Soccer General Secretary. Are we okay with the devices? We're still missing, no? It's coming. Just for Lydia to start with, that will help. Thank you. Thank you, Richard. Tiens, Lydia. Thank you very much. So I think, Victor, you can start. The floor is yours.
Merci, Ségolène. Au nom de l'Association canadienne de soccer et de la Coupe du Monde
In the
féminine de
name
la
of the
FIFA
association and the FIFA 2015, I'd like to welcome you to this competition. I would like to thank the committee, FIFA's Women's Committee, to be here, the Committee for Women's Football, and Tatjana Haenni, Lydia Nsekera. Tatjana Haenni is head of women's football for FIFA. Thank you very much for being here with us in Canada.
It's a privilege on the eve of our first game on Saturday to be talking to you all today. This is the largest single sporting event for women in the world. And we're very proud and very humbled to be putting on the FIFA Women's World Cup here in Canada. It's the first time that it's in the expanded format of 24 countries, which will have 52 matches over the next 30 days. We expect fantastic football to be played, and we look forward to some fantastic results. 128 nations started this journey, have competed in 398 matches that started way back in April 2013 to find themselves here in Canada. We want to wish all the finalists, all 24 nations, the best of luck in this competition, and I hope that they, in one form or another, find their greater goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you, Victor. Lydia, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hello.
Bonjour à tous. Chaque Coupe du Monde féminine.
Every Women's World Cup is a chance to show people how this game is played. In 2 days, we will start these matches and have matches from the 24 teams. As a representative of this organization, my colleagues in the executive, I would like to thank Mr. Victor Montagliani and his team of the National Organizing Committee for the work that they have done in collaboration with FIFA over the last 4 years. It has been 4 years that the NOC prepares this World Cup. 4 years that we have been talking about stadiums, the cities. It is now time to get to the sport itself. The development of women's football is intimately tied to this competition, and I believe that this will invite women and young women to join us on the field, but also outside of the field as trainers, as heads of federations, and as referees. Today, over 30 million women play football all over the world. Football has to continue to be the #1 collective sport all over the world. Participation has increased. It's also a good opportunity to remind you that between the finals and the competition for third place and the finals in Vancouver, the football symposium will take place. There will be discussions with all the member associations and presidents of federations and should lead to concrete decisions and action plans for women's football. The symposium will talk about 3 topics: governance, structure, competitions, and business. I wish all of you an excellent World Cup, and thank you for your contribution to women's football through different types of media support. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lydia. Peter, if you have some opening remarks as well.
Sure. Welcome, everyone. Thank you very much, Sego. It's a pleasure to be here and to, welcome everyone to Canada. When we put in our initial bid in 2011, it was ready to welcome the world, and that time has come. So welcome to our friendly country, and we hope you enjoy your stay. It's the first time in our country we are hosting a major international competition from one coast to the other, and as such, we're bringing the idea of coast to coast alive in our country. 18 of the 24 teams have arrived into our country. We welcome the final 6 teams, nations, countries into our country between today and tomorrow. Each team has been met with incredible excitement and enthusiasm in the local airports, and we look for that to continue as the teams start their training. Over 2,100 volunteers are in action, again, from coast to coast in the 6 official host cities, with great excitement and fanfare. Just a bit of an update on the ticketing side, if I may. The opening match is trending to be the largest attended Senior A soccer match in our Canadian history, with over 52,000 people. We're also looking at this as the largest attended national team match of any sport in our country. So obviously the opening day, the opening match, is a big day for Canadian soccer, but also Canadian sport, and we are looking at a sellout. The final match sold out within 72 hours of going on sale. And as far as the group stage, we will have at least one sellout in each venue. 33% of the group stage matches will be sold out. And at this point in time, it looks like all the U.S. matches in the group stage will be in a sellout position. At this moment in time, we're over 920,000 total spectators and counting. Ticket sales are going very, very fast across our country. 95% of the tickets have been sold to North American guests, so Canadians and Americans. And today we're also announcing that due to the demand in Montreal, we're opening up the Upper Bowl in Montreal's Olympic Stadium for Canada's 3rd group stage match. So all in all, across our country, it's exciting, it's great momentum, and we thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for all this information, and now we'll finish the opening remarks with Tatjana.
Thank you very much, Ségolène, and welcome from my side. It's great to be back in Canada and to see some of the familiar faces. Yeah, we're excited. We're excited that the tournament is about to start in just some hours. It has been a long preparation time, 4 years of working together with the National Organizing Committee, and so it's finally, we're here to see the result of it, and we're totally excited to see the first matches. I think we will be incredibly impressed by this tournament, by the players, by the teams, and we just can't wait that tournament to start. So I think we have already made a little bit of history with the FIFA Women's World Cup 2015, because we know we broke already some of the records and some more will come For the first time, this tournament will play with 24 teams. There are 8 newcomers who participate for the first time in the FIFA Women's World Cup. The qualification competitions all over the world in the confederations has also seen some record numbers. There were 398 matches played and 128 member associations of FIFA participated in the qualification competition. As you all know, goal line technology will be used in all 6 stadiums, also for the first time in a FIFA Women's World Cup. The referees will be using a vanishing spray. I think something really fantastic will be the TV coverage. So a total of 187 territories will be able to show matches of this FIFA Women's World Cup. Another record is the prize money, which has increased by 50% to the last FIFA Women's World Cup 2011 in Germany. And also the training sites are 2 stars approved, 6 stadiums and 18 training sites in total. We think a lot of promotion has been done in Canada through the National Organizing Committee, who has done a lot of efforts to really reach the people here, but also worldwide. FIFA has helped and assisted. There was a FIFA Women's World Cup Leave Your Goals tour, where all the 23 other participating member associations have been visited together with a trophy to really make sure the promotion is also done not only in Canada but worldwide. Of course, we hope there's a legacy for women in sport, women soccer players, girls who want to play football in Canada but worldwide. The FIFA Women's World Cup is the biggest single women's team sport event worldwide, and it really helps to develop and grow the sport in all countries, in the whole world, and in some countries a lot of work is still needed. At that point, I would like to thank the Canadian Soccer Associations and the NOC with Victor Montagliani and Peter Montopoli. We have been working hand in hand over the last years and months, and it has been a pleasure always to be in Canada, to feel the hospitality, the professionalism, the importance women's sports and women's soccer has in this country. So we're really happy to be here and excited, and I thank everybody, including host cities, volunteers, media, for everything you've done so far. And I'm sure we can't wait to see that opening match, all of us in Edmonton. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tatjana. A lot of information, but I'm sure you have a lot of questions as well. Before we start the Q&A session, I would like to mention the fact that the situation at FIFA HQ in Zurich has been well reported these last days, and that we are here to answer questions, discuss on the tournament. Thank you for your understanding. Please wait for the mic. We have 2 volunteers you can really identify. We are live on YouTube, so be so kind to wait for the mic and give us some information on who you are and who do you direct the question to. So we'll start, yes, on the 3rd row here, please.
Hi, Yuki Oba of NHK Japan Broadcasting. I know it's about the tournament, but before that, can you explain why Mr. Blatter and Mr. Valk hasn't shown up to this press conference, and or are they planning? Is there a plan for them to actually come to this tournament?
I mean, I think the answer on the Secretary General was widely shared with you. Of course, there was a plan for him to come, but due to the late situation, he had to stay in Zurich. This is understandable. And regarding the president, we will confirm in a due moment what is his plan, because we still have like some days before the end of the tournament, and we can't confirm anything now. It will be unfair and inaccurate to tell you what's going on in 30 days. Thank you.
And also, I know that...
1 question per person. I mean, please, there's other people. We'll come back to you afterwards. Okay. Thank you. 2nd row. Yes?
Une question. Okay. Une question pour Monsieur Montagliani.
A question for Mr. Montagliani.
En ces temps troubles au niveau de la
In these troubled times for FIFA, I think the question is legitimate. Did Canada pay bribes to get to host this World Cup? Did Canada pay bribes to FIFA to be able to host this World Cup? This World Cup? No, absolutely not. When we bid, the only country that was there was Canada. So no, absolutely not. But how can we have a guarantee that it hasn't happened?
Well, his question was, when we bid for the World Cup, was there any, yeah, thank you. When we bid for this World Cup, did the Canadian Soccer Association engage in any improprieties to obtain it? And I said, absolutely not. We put our bid forward, and quite frankly, we were the only country that in the end bid. There was others that were interested, but we were the only country that was standing, and so absolutely not.
Hello, Geraint Hughes from Sky Sports in the UK. Again, with respect to going into what you're saying, this is the first senior FIFA competition that is starting with the scandal in developing FIFA. Just how damaging is this for the Women's World Cup? How damaging is this for Canada 2015?
Quite frankly, as you heard by our ticket sales, none. And here's the reason I say that. I actually think it's I think it's a positive thing that the first tournament after this, whatever happened in the last week, is the Women's World Cup. Because women's football is a very pure form of football. And I think women's football can shine some light in the dark clouds that are hanging over the game. So actually, I think it's whether you call it irony or destiny, I don't know how you want to call it, but I think we should all thank that it's the Women's World Cup that is immediately following here, because I think it's an opportunity for women's football to shine some light onto the game that perhaps has lost a little bit of its moral compass.
Yes, second row.
A question, if this tournament goes well for Canada and people attend, does it put us in a good position for 2026? And Victor, does it put you in a position to perhaps be the next president of FIFA?
You want to ask my wife that question? Well, with all due respect, I think, first of all, our focus is on this tournament. I think the numbers speak for themselves. I think Canadians, I've always shown that we not only rally, but we just absolutely, inhale these type of events. And, with respect to 2026, it is the furthest thing from all our minds right now. The only thing on my mind, quite frankly, is 215, the tournament, and to be very partisan, is about the 23 girls that are going to wear the women's national team. That's all I really care about.
Yeah, on the right side.
Hello, David Ebner from the Globe and Mail. Victor, last September you cited Jeff Webb as an influence in your soccer career. What's your relationship with Jeff Webb?
Yeah, I mean, notwithstanding the allegations that have occurred last week, I think it'd be very hard before last Wednesday to say that somebody who sat on the anti-racism committee that really pushed fair play and pushed anti-racism in the game, that actually started the process of, changing the governance within CONCACAF. It'd be very hard to say that you wouldn't respect somebody of that nature. Having said that, if the allegations that last week are true, then obviously that would change not only would change a lot of people's opinion. I hope it's not, because obviously we know there's no room in the game for those kind of things. But up until last Wednesday, whether it be myself or anybody else, would have probably thought of the same thing, because even yourselves in the media were touting Mr. Webb as the hero of football. So with all due respect, I think we all have that opinion. Obviously, the allegations that occurred on Wednesday will change a lot of people's opinion, and I pray for his family.
Any question on the tournament itself? No, well, we can come back after. I mean, can we start on football, women's football?
I'll start.
Okay, so yes, I'll come back after, but we start with the tournament. Thank you.
Victor, Peter.
Take the mic, please.
Sorry, okay. To celebrate and to talk about what you're talking about, women's soccer and the purity of that game, just talk to us about what you're seeing, the impact for, not everyone's playing at elite games, what this will mean for Canadian soccer and women's soccer and just for young women in this country.
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky because I'm a minority in my house. I have 3 women in my house. My dog's male, but So I actually get to see it front end. I have girls that play as well. And you know what? I know sometimes some people think it's very hard to make the connection between a national team player and the grassroots, but those are people that are not little girls. You're trying to look at the game in your adult eyes. The reality is, when I see our women national team players amongst the girls, it's unbelievable. It's like somebody just, threw gasoline on the fire and you see this torch burning. You see the looks in these girls' eyes. And you know what? Most of them are never going to play for Canada. That's the reality of any high-performance sport. But the truth is that, this will light the flame of the game. And you know what? It means that, it's not just about playing for your national team. I hope that women get into positions of coaching, continue playing even up until they're, 50, 60 years old with their friends, become perhaps maybe a president of a Canadian Soccer Association one day. Like, there's so many things you can do in the game, and I think this will just help in their journey.
Just to add on our side, and just to echo what Victor has said, it's allowed our technical system here for women's sport, for women's soccer, to be fully aligned. I think prior to the FIFA Women's World Cup, and we may have been missing that alignment, but certainly the FIFA Women's World Cup sped up the process for us in Canada to fully align all of our youth systems. And as John Herdman said very eloquently, we need more Sinclairs more often. And that's what we're seeing already just by John's implementation of the program, by which we were fully costed out and being part of Canadian Soccer Association because of the hosting, that we're seeing more Sinclairs more often already. And this was supposed to be an 8-year journey, and within 2 or 3 years we've seen 2 Sinclairs already. So I think it bodes well for our country for the future.
Question on the, yeah?
Bob Mackin, World Football Insider. What is the budget for hospitality for FIFA executives, for wining them, dining them, for transport within Vancouver, for accommodation? And conversely, what is the budget for appearance money for the teams and prize money for the athletes?
On the first part, we will of course get back to you because we don't have those figures here now, but you know how to contact us. On the second part, I'm sure Tatjana has the answer.
Yeah, the prize money is in total 15 million, and it's distributed at the end of the tournament by the rank of the team. And there's a circular letter which is accessible who shows you exactly which position would then resolve in how much money.
Please, Mike, and one question at a time.
Sorry, is the hospitality budget more than the athletes' money?
Excuse me, we can't answer 2 questions at a time, so one after the other. So, Bob, if you can ask again, and then we'll go back to you.
Sorry, just is the athletes' money less than the hospitality money for FIFA executives and members? Or is the FIFA budget for hospitality more than what the athletes are getting?
I can honestly not say that. We would have to look at the overall total budget, at the requirements and what's happening and what's not happening, who is coming. There's a figure attached to it, that's clear, there's a cost, but we have never budgeted in a way that we would say exactly what's the hospitality for the executive. So it's a tournament organizational budget where guest management, transport, accommodation, teams, meals, referees, it's just all included, technical study group, disciplinary, doping, medical. So it's obviously a huge package. We would have to go and break it really, really down, which I cannot tell you right now.
Yes?
SimonFudgeGoal.com Canada. Just for Peter and Victor especially, the build-up to this tournament, there hasn't necessarily been a sense of a lot of buzz and a lot of people knowing about it. And I wanted to ask you guys about your thoughts of how you've marketed and sold this event. Have you been satisfied with the way that you have been able to do that? And could you possibly have been seen that with the total ticket numbers that you've done, that you probably should have been at this point over the 1 million mark by this point?
Well, I think by the time the competition will have started, we'll be close to 1 million. So I think we're very happy where we've been. We've been very happy with the marketing, promotions, communications of the competition itself. I think we've done everything possible within our country to see the success of the competition. I'd also like to say that in the United States, it's been a great promotion. So within North America, I think we've done everything we possibly can, and certainly our media rights licensees have been exceptional in Canada and the United States, getting the message out. I'm not sure I would agree that the awareness of this competition is not very high. I'm not living in the same place you are if the awareness of this competition is not high in this country. But as we get to the course of this competition and when 24 countries actually come into our country, that's when the buzz really starts and that's when it happens. And we're about to roll out the first ball on Saturday, and as that happens, let's hope the attention turns to the pitch and the excitement in all the 6 official host cities and coast to coast in our country will be there. I'm certain it will be there through the efforts that we've done over the last 4 years and principally the last 6 months.
Thank you. Here. No, in the front. Yes, exactly. He's raising his hand. Yeah, exactly. Thanks.
Tibor Meingast, German television. Just to the prize money, which currency do we talk about?
US dollars.
Okay, now in the front, please. Yeah, oui, à vous, exactement.
Bonjour, Jacques Dufresne, Radio-Canada.
Question for Nsekera. During this World Cup allocation for 2015, you had 2 countries. You had an African country who wanted to bid, and you had Canada. The African country, if I remember, was Zimbabwe, did withdraw. Do you think that if the World Cup had happened in Zimbabwe, it would have had a higher impact for soccer or African football than to have it organized here in Canada? As you know, Zimbabwe is an African country where women's football is in progress. Lots of African countries are part of this competition. They are really watching it too. But next to it, you have Canada. Canada is a huge multicultural country with a good team, and that whether the World Cup is happening in Canada or in an African country or Zimbabwe, there is no problem regarding promotion of the sport because everyone is watching it, whether they are in Zimbabwe or in Canada. That's what's most important here.
Richard Ontario, Radio-Canada.
Richard Ontario, Radio-Canada. Another question under the theme. When you have more and more teams participating, you have 24 teams, isn't there a risk? Some teams might not be at the same level, at the national level, let's say, compared to the big teams. Do you think it's going to have an impact on the level of play or on the development of women's soccer in general? In the last 10 years, women's football did improve, did develop all over the world. If you look at the Under-20 World Cup, Nigeria went to the final. So the more teams you have, the more the different countries want to develop the sport. So it's essential that we have 24 teams.
Hi, this is a question for Victor and Peter. Michael McCall, AFTN.ca. There's been a lot of talk around the legacy from the tournament, especially on the youth side. What's the legacy going to be for the senior side? At the moment, there's no senior Canadian women's teams, and there's not a national Canadian league. Do you see that coming out of this tournament?
Yeah, actually, one of the things I think, we have a legacy program, but which has other elements in it. But from a footballing standpoint, Michael, which is you're asking the question, I think, we're one of the 3 federations that are sort of involved in investing into the senior component with the NWSL, National Women's Soccer League. I think the next stage of that is to have women's teams in that league within Canada. Without mentioning any names, there was 2 or 3 that were very close to jumping in to that pool. I think hopefully this tournament and with the help of our federation, we can push that to have 2 or 3 teams involved in that league, and then obviously expand from there a platform to have more, quite frankly, jobs available for women footballers in the future.
Apologies, another one for either Victor or Peter. Does Soccer Canada think there should be a revote on where the next 2 World Cups are to be held?
I think as Canadians, we always respect process. There is a process there. I believe there's the original Garcia report, and then there's also there's ongoing, I guess, Swiss authorities are involved in some sort of process. And as a federation, we will respect the process, and if there is a legitimate call for that, not just a call based on speculation, but a legitimate call where the member nations have to act, and we're one of the 209 member nations, we will then act accordingly.
Next, on this tournament? I'm challenging you. On this tournament? Alex? Yeah, here. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll keep you this tournament for now. Lydia, a question for you. The same one that Victor had before, actually. How damaging do you think the chaos at FIFA will be on this tournament?
Ça dépendra des médias.
Well, it depends on the media. As you know, the Women's World Cup happens every 4 years. Last time we were in Germany. 4 years later, we are here in Canada. We expect a lot more. We want these games to be played at a high level. We want that women's football be promoted, because it's essential that this tournament happen in good conditions. Because for us at FIFA and at CNO, we are ready. We are ready to show you how well organized the women's football is. You have 30,000 players in the world who would be part of it if you're. You have the mothers also of these players. So it's essential that this World Cup that's happening here in Canada be well covered by the media. Maybe if we could have a break that we speak only about Women's World Cup and maybe wait a bit more to speak about what's happening at the FIFA in July, that would be great. That would be essential. For women's football, it's essential that you deal only with World Cup here. It's essential for young girls, for young women, because the next World Cup will be in France. It's in 4 years from now. So we have to benefit from what's happening here in Canada to develop our sport even more, to create more women's program in the world. It's essential for the sport. It's essential for women in general. Thank you.
Just a question for Peter and Victor again. It was on the legacy of the tournament and your comments on NWSL. Does that, first question is, what are the challenges to making that more stable and taking it up to a level to make it sort of more professional, full-time professional level? And two, would that require it to be a league that would have to not only have teams in Canada, the United States, but also Mexico as well?
I think that's the next, from a North American perspective, I think, the world is obviously different, and women's football has different challenges in different parts of the world. But if you look at, some of the success even in Europe, the women's game has bolted on to other professional clubs. So it has to be a club mentality. I don't think it can be a standalone sort of approach to it. I think it needs to go in conjunction with, for instance, I think when you have a full club, when you have a men's team and your youth teams, a women's team, and similar to our national team programs. We have men's programs and women's programs, but they run parallel to each other. And I think if that attitude is taken towards club football, I think you have a better chance of sustainability with respect to women professional leagues.
Please, we are live, so we cannot have such kind of conversation. Thanks. Sorry.
Question for Tatjana and Lydia, if I may. At this moment in time, with everything that's happened here, there are some opportunities, and people are calling for reform, calling for a change. Will the reforms, do you hope, as two senior women administrators within FIFA, do you hope that this would include the increasing the number of women who are involved in the organisation in positions like you hold? Is this a moment where the reforms can get more females involved within an organisation like FIFA on an administration level?
La place de la femme dans le football.
Role of women in
C'est un
football.
programme qui a déjà commencé.
It's a large program. We started many years ago. I'd like to remind you that in 2012, FIFA has decided that you'd have a woman in the in the executive committee. In 2013, one woman was elected at the executive committee. In a few days, from July 3rd to July 5th, you'd have the symposium on women's football, and we will talk a lot about leadership. On March 6th in Zurich, there was a conference, a congress, a meeting on women's leadership. And what's essential here is that there is a will at FIFA to have more women at the executive committee and at every level. So women who are part of football today have to really get involved. We want to make sure that women are represented everywhere. As you know, Federation President, there is no competition. The women have to be involved directly. They have to present, they have to be nominated and so on. So it's a work that will be starting with a symposium, and we hope that in 4 or 5 years you'd have more women in different associations. Today we have 2 women president at the national level, Madame Sonia Bien-Aimé, who is at the executive committee, and also Madame Aisha, who is at the back here, who is the president of the Liberia Confederation, Sierra Leone. Madame Aisha, you should be here so that we will show there's more and more women involved. It's a large program. It's an essential program for women's football. The women's leadership is essential for every sport.
Yeah, if I may just add to this, I think it's a process which has started some years ago, and I think FIFA definitely took a huge step when they appointed Lydia and Nsekera as the first member to the FIFA Executive Committee, and now we have 2 more female members who are co-opted. I think that was really crucial and a signal for the world. If you look at the confederations and other member associations, there are not too many who have actually women in their decision-making positions. So I think it's a process, and no matter what has happened or will happen, it's just something which needs a bit of time. It's, as we all know, not so easy, but I think we all also know that it's about time to have more women involved in all areas, whatever it is it politics, government, the economy, businesses, and sports organizations. Football seems to be one of the more difficult ones, but also there I see with the development of the sport and the high level of the players and the changes in societies, this will also just continue to change. Personally, I think we should have more women in decision-making positions, but it's not the same as women's football. I also try to make that difference. One is women in football and one is women's football. And I think you need to look at both areas, and both areas need much more support and development.
Le réseau d'information, c'est Alex Bouchard. Madame Nsekera, peut-être Monsieur Montagliani aussi.
Mr. Montagliani, also for this tournament, as you can see behind you, you have sponsors. Sponsors are essential. Regarding what's happening right now, did you work to reassure the sponsors here at the world level or here in Canada?
Est-ce que vous pouvez préciser les commanditaires?
Sponsors, who do you mean by sponsors? What do you mean by sponsors? Sponsors that are behind you.
No, il y a le sponsor de la FIFA.
Well, you have FIFA sponsors who are here. You have the sponsors at the national level who are here. The tournament is working very well at the administrative level. And sponsors are very confident in this tournament and in the management of this tournament.
Regarding the tournament, the final will be played here in Vancouver. New turf was installed last week. The manufacturer of the turf says it takes 6 to 10 weeks until the turf is properly ready. 6 weeks is after the tournament. I was wondering, what will the quality of the turf be?
Sure. We're It's a process. We're fully confident. I mean, you know, the manufacturer and the installer, you know, they do this daily, weekly. We're fully confident that the turf will be in the condition it needs to be for this level of tournament, and that you know, that the players will find the service at the level it needs to be. I think we had played a game last week on it, an MLS game, and I think the players had rave reviews already of the turf. Well, some of them I mean, the ones I saw, you can point out other ones to me, but I just, some of the ones I've seen. No, I'm just saying the ones I've seen. So, you know, if there's other players that have complaint, fair enough. I'm just seeing the ones that I saw. So, but we're fully confident the conditions of the surface will be at the level it needs to be.
We'll take the two last questions. So anyone? We need to finish with a positive note, huh? Okay, so you're not the last, so go ahead. Go ahead.
This is from Montagliani again. I just, to follow up a little bit further on what you said before, sorry, I'm scrolling down to my questions there. Considering your involvement with Web and just with CONCACAF, however you say it overall, I mean, if you were that close and if you were involved heavily in this, how can we assure Canadians that the top levels of Canada soccer is not also being touched by this corruption?
Well, first of all, I'm a member of the CONCACAF Executive Committee. You know, my involvement with Web is as a member of that committee, no different than the other 6 or 7 members of that committee. With respect to the allegations that you've listed, if you've seen them, they're all from the ones I've seen on the list, they're all pre-212, 213, from what I've seen. I think there's only one allegation that is post. And if you've seen the allegations, they involve sports marketing companies mainly, and they have to do with TV rights and stuff like that. Those are things that at the federation level that we are not involved with. We're not involved with those parties, and that we have our due diligence in place with respect to all that kind of stuff. So you can be rest assured from a Canadian Federation standpoint that you know, our distance from that is quite a bit. Well, I think I've already explained that to you. I think you know, that up until Wednesday, until the news broke, it's very difficult for anybody to say that somebody that worked that hard to rid racism out of the game, to change the governance structures. And with all due respect, you and your colleagues were saying this exact same thing. So, you know, you need to maybe look in the mirror a little bit and maybe not put people on the pedestal so that you can whack the hell out of them after. But if the allegations are true, there's absolutely no room for that in the game. And you know what? Obviously, if we all would have known that previously, well, our opinions would have been quite differently.
Okay, we'll take the last question on the tournament. Anyone wants to speak about women's football? No? Well, then I wish you an excellent tournament and thank you for your support on women's football.